take a deep breath, and let's hear a story about Luna, the young humpback whale with curious eyes that reflected the vastness of her ocean home. In the sapphire depths of the Pacific Ocean, where sunlight filters through in gentle, swaying beams, lived Luna, a young humpback whale with curious eyes that reflected the vastness of her home. Her skin bore unique patterns of white and gray, like a canvas painted by the ocean itself, making her easily recognizable among her pod. The rhythmic sounds of her breathing created ripples on the surface, mingling with the soothing symphony of waves that rolled endlessly above their watery domain. Luna's mother, Aria, was the wisest whale in their pod, with scars that told stories of distant journeys across oceans and encounters with creatures from all corners of the world. Each night, as the water grew still and the surface mirrored the twinkling stars above, Aria would sing ancient songs to Luna, melodies that carried the history of their kind, passed down through generations. The vibrations of these songs traveled for miles, wrapping Luna in a blanket of comfort and security as she drifted into peaceful slumber. Around them lived a community of sea creatures that had become like family. Playful, spotted dolphins that danced in their wake, schools of silver fish that moved like flowing silk ribbons, and colorful coral formations that housed countless tiny beings. When Luna swam near these coral gardens, she could feel the gentle tickle of tiny bubbles against her skin, and smell the sweet, salty essence of life that flourished in these underwater paradises. The soft blue light that enveloped everything gave the world a dreamlike quality, making even ordinary moments feel magical. Old Neptune, a weathered sperm whale with wise, gentle eyes and skin textured by decades in the deep, often visited their pod to share wisdom. His deep, rumbling voice seemed to emanate from the very core of the ocean when he spoke, each word carrying the weight of centuries of experience. Luna loved to listen to Neptune's tales of distant lands, of ice mountains that floated on water, and of warm lagoons where whales gathered to bring new life into the world. The coastal waters where Luna had spent her early months were rich with life tangles of golden kelp forests swayed in gentle currents, creating hiding places for playful sea otters who wrapped themselves in the plants while they slept. When Luna swam through these forests, she could feel the smooth, cool caress of the kelp against her sides, and hear the soft crackling sound they made as they bent and straightened with each passing wave. The filtered sunlight created dancing patterns on the ocean floor, mesmerizing in their constant, gentle motion. Each morning, Luna would wake to the sensation of warm currents brushing against her, carrying the promise of new adventures in their invisible embrace. She would stretch her enormous flippers wide, feeling the pleasant strain of muscles preparing for a day of swimming through the endless blue expanse. The early light penetrated the surface in shifting columns that illuminated drifting particles, creating a spectacle of underwater stars that seemed to welcome the new day. Nearby lived Orion, a young male humpback close to Luna's age, with whom she had formed a special friendship since they were calves. Together they would practice launching their massive bodies out of the water in joyful displays of strength and exuberance. The momentary weightlessness at the peak of each breach, followed by the thunderous splash and embrace of the water's coolness upon re-entry, filled Luna with indescribable joy that bubbled up from deep within her. As Luna matured, she began to develop her own unique song, a melody that started softly, almost hesitantly, but grew more confident with each passing day. The vibrations of her song resonated through her massive body, connecting her to the ancient rhythms of her ancestors and to the very heartbeat of the ocean itself. Other whales would pause their activities to listen when Luna sang, tilting their heads in gentle appreciation. The changing seasons brought subtle shifts to their underwater world, variations in temperature, in the creatures they encountered, and in the quality of light that penetrated the surface. Luna could taste these changes in the water, feel them against her sensitive skin, and sense them in the behaviors of the creatures around her. These natural cycles provided a comforting predictability to life, a grounding rhythm that connected all beings in the great dance of existence. One magical evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the ocean in shades of purple and gold, Neptune gathered the pod to make an important announcement. His voice, deeper and more solemn than usual, rippled through the water as he spoke of the great migration, a journey thousands of miles long that would take them to warm southern waters. The thought of such a vast journey sent tingles of both excitement and apprehension through Luna's body, making her heart beat faster within her massive chest. Arya explained to Luna that the migration was a sacred tradition, an essential part of their existence that connected them to generations past and those yet to come. The journey would be challenging, requiring all their strength and courage, but the rewards would be beyond anything Luna had experienced in her young life. That night, as Luna drifted off to sleep, her dreams were filled with images of unknown horizons and mysterious new waters waiting to be explored. The following days were filled with preparations, longer feeding sessions in krill-rich waters, practice dives to build endurance, and intensive sessions of echolocation training to sharpen their navigational skills. Luna could feel her body changing, becoming stronger and more efficient, as if awakening to its true purpose after months of playful development. The anticipation of adventure hung in the water like a tangible presence, infusing every moment with heightened awareness and excitement. Neptune gathered the young whales for one final lesson before their departure, his voice gentle yet commanding as he reminded them of the ocean's ancient wisdom. Remember, little ones, that the sea does not belong to us, we belong to the sea. Its rhythms flow through our bodies, its mysteries live in our songs, and its vastness mirrors the depths of our souls. Respect its power, listen to its whispers, and you will never truly be lost. The morning of their departure arrived with a sky painted in soft pinks and oranges, colors that rippled and danced on the ocean's surface like a living canvas. Luna felt a mix of emotions bubbling within her: excitement for the adventure ahead, nervousness about the unknown challenges, and a touch of sadness at leaving the only home she had ever known. The familiar coastal waters that had cradled her since birth now seemed to whisper gentle goodbyes as she took one last look at the shoreline. The pod formed a V formation, with the eldest whales leading the way, their massive bodies cutting effortlessly through the water with practiced precision. Luna positioned herself beside her mother, drawing comfort from Aria's steady presence and confident movements. The rhythm of their synchronized swimming created a soothing melody, a continuous flow of gentle splashes, and the whoosh of expelled breath that became the soundtrack of their journey. Days passed as they traveled steadily southward, through waters that gradually changed in temperature, color, and the creatures they harbored. Luna marveled at the new sensations: warmer currents that caressed her skin like silk scarves, unfamiliar fish with bodies that glowed like living jewels, and the changing taste of the water itself. Each breath she took at the surface filled her with scents she had never experienced, exotic aromas carried from distant shores by winds that had traveled the world. One particularly peaceful evening, as the pod rested in a sheltered cove, Luna noticed a small group of dolphins approaching, their movements quick and agitated. Their high-pitched clicks and whistles conveyed urgency even before. Neptune translated their message. A young dolphin named Pearl had become entangled in an abandoned fishing net in a nearby reef. Without hesitation, the pod agreed to help, following the dolphins through waters illuminated by the silver glow of a full moon. They found Pearl struggling weakly, her small body wrapped in mesh that cut into her skin with each desperate movement. The sight sent a wave of concern through Luna, who had never encountered such strange, harmful material before. Human-made, Neptune explained solemnly, his ancient eyes reflecting both sadness and understanding. Neither good nor bad in itself, but dangerous when left adrift in our home. Luna watched in awe as Neptune and the older whales assessed the situation, communicating through a series of low, rumbling sounds that seemed to vibrate through the very water around them. With deliberate gentleness, Neptune positioned himself near the trapped dolphin, using his massive head to stabilize the netting, while Aria and another female carefully bit through strategic points of the mesh. The coordination of their efforts spoke of wisdom accumulated through countless seasons in the sea. After what seemed like hours of delicate work, the last strand of netting fell away from Pearl's body, dissolving into the dark water like a vanishing nightmare. The young dolphin remained motionless for several heartbeats. Then, with a sudden burst of energy, she darted upward, breaking the surface in a spectacular leap that sent droplets of water sparkling in the moonlight. The pure joy of that moment washed over Luna like a healing current, settling deep in her heart as a memory she knew she would carry forever. The grateful dolphin pod joined them for the next leg of their journey, their playful energy and swift movements creating a lively contrast to the whale's more measured pace. Luna and Pearl developed a special friendship, often swimming side by side and communicating through a language of movement they created together's spins, flips, and gentle nudges that transcended the barriers between their species. In Pearl's company, Luna learned the value of seeing the world through different eyes, from new perspectives. 10 days into their migration, they encountered their first significant challenge, a vast stretch of water that felt different, carrying an unsettling vibration that made Luna's skin tingle uncomfortably. Neptune explained that they were approaching shipping lanes, areas frequently crossed by massive human vessels whose thunderous engines disrupted the natural harmonies of the ocean. The news spread anxiety through the younger members of the pod, who had never navigated such hazardous waters before. That night, instead of continuing their journey, the pod gathered in a protective circle while Neptune and the elders shared ancient techniques for safely crossing these modern dangers. "Listen with your entire body," Neptune instructed, his voice a calming presence in the anxious atmosphere. Feel the approaching vibrations long before you see the vessels, and dive deep where the water still remembers its original silence. When morning came, Luna felt a new determination replacing her fear, a quiet confidence born from the knowledge that generations of her ancestors had successfully made this journey before her. As they approached the shipping lanes, she focused intently on the sensations around her, allowing her consciousness to expand outward into the water. The first distant rumble of engines sent a clear signal, and Luna dove alongside her mother, descending into the cool, dark depths where the human world's influence faded into silence. The crossing took most of the day, a series of deep dives interspersed with brief surface intervals for breathing. By sunset, they had reached safer waters, and the pod celebrated with a spectacular display of breaching and tail slapping that transformed their relief into physical joy. Luna launched herself completely out of the water for the first time in her life, feeling the cool evening air embrace her entire body for one magnificent moment before gravity reclaimed her in a thunderous splash. The following weeks brought new wonders, as they swam through waters teeming with different forms of life. Massive sea turtles with ancient eyes that seemed to recognize them as fellow travelers. Schools of flying fish that glided above the waves like silver birds. And once, in deeper offshore waters, a brief and magical encounter with a giant squid, whose body pulsed with patterns of color that seemed to convey thoughts without sound. Each new creature added to Luna's growing understanding of the ocean's incredible diversity. As they neared the tropics, the water became remarkably clear and warm, with sunlight penetrating to depths that had been dark in their northern home. Luna delighted in swimming through underwater light shows, where sunbeams created spotlights on the sandy bottom and transformed simple scenes into theatrical displays of natural beauty. The warmth seemed to seep into her very bones, relaxing muscles that had worked tirelessly for weeks, and bringing a new lightness to her movements. Three months after leaving their northern waters, the pod finally arrived at their destination, a sheltered lagoon enclosed by protective arms of land, where the water was shallow and perpetually warm. Luna had never seen such a place, the water so clear that she could see every detail of the white sandy bottom, small fish darting like colorful thoughts between patches of sun-dappled coral, and most wonderfully, other pods of humpbacks who had completed their own long journeys from different parts of the vast ocean. The atmosphere in the lagoon was unlike anything Luna had experienced, filled with whale songs that overlapped and intertwined in complex harmonies, creating a continuous celebration of life and connection. Young calves, some born during the migration, practiced swimming in protective circles formed by watchful adults. The air above the surface was perfumed with tropical flowers carried on gentle breezes, and the sky bloomed with stars of extraordinary brightness each night. Neptune gathered the younger whales on their first evening in the lagoon, his massive form silhouetted against the sunset as he spoke with reverence about the significance of this place. "This is where new life begins," he explained, his voice rich with emotion. "In these warm, protected waters, the next generation will enter the world, and the great cycle will continue as it has for countless seasons before us." Luna spent her days exploring the lagoon, discovering hidden grottos where the water glowed with an ethereal blue light. Beaches where sea turtles emerged at night to lay their eggs in the soft sand, and coral gardens that housed more varieties of creatures than she could count. Each discovery filled her with a sense of wonder, that bordered on reverence, a deep appreciation for the intricate design of the natural world and her place within it. As weeks passed in this tropical paradise, Luna noticed subtle changes in the behavior of the adult whales, new bonds forming between certain males and females, songs becoming more elaborate and haunting, and a general sense of anticipation filling the water. Arya explained that many of the females, herself included, would soon become mothers, carrying the next generation inside them when they returned to their northern feeding grounds. One particularly magical night, under a canopy of stars that seemed close enough to touch, Luna witnessed the beginning of new life. A female whale named Selene, whom they had met in the lagoon, gave birth to a tiny calf who shot to the surface for his first breath with his mother's gentle guidance. The newborn's eyes, wide with wonder at entering the vast world, met Luna's gaze for an instant that seemed to connect all past and future generations in one perfect moment. The miracle of birth touched something profound within Luna, an understanding that she was part of something much larger than herself, an unbroken chain of life that stretched back to the ocean's earliest days. That night, Luna sang a new song, one that came from a place deeper than conscious thought, carrying emotions too complex for words. Gratitude for the journey that had brought her here, joy for the new lives beginning around her, and profound love for the ocean that sustained them all. As the season turned and the time approached to begin their journey northward, Luna realized how much she had changed. The challenges of the migration had strengthened not just her body but her spirit, teaching her resilience and courage she hadn't known she possessed. The friends she had made, Pearl the dolphin, Neptune with his ancient wisdom, and the whales from distant pods, had expanded her understanding of community beyond the boundaries of her own kind. The pod gathered one last time on the shore of the lagoon, where the shallow water allowed them to rest in peaceful communion before the long journey home. Neptune spoke of the cycle they were part of, the eternal rhythm of coming and going, of feeding and fasting, of solitude and community that created the balanced whole of a whale's life. His words settled over them like a blessing, affirming the rightness of their existence within the ocean's greater design. On the morning of their departure, the lagoon was peaceful, bathed in the golden light of dawn that transformed the water's surface into a shimmering tapestry of light. Luna felt a momentary sadness at leaving this place of such profound beauty and significance, but it was balanced by an equal excitement for the journey ahead and the familiar waters that awaited them in the north. She understood now that home was not just one place, but a feeling carried within. The return journey would be challenging in different ways. They would be swimming against stronger currents, and some females would be carrying precious new life within them. But Luna felt prepared for whatever lay ahead, confident in the knowledge and skills she had gained. The ocean, which had once seemed overwhelmingly vast to her young mind, now felt like a familiar friend whose moods and rhythms she had come to understand and respect. As they swam away from the lagoon, Luna positioned herself near her mother, whose body now carried a new sibling for Luna. The thought filled her with protective tenderness and a fierce determination to help ensure their safe return. Luna had entered these southern waters as a child, unsure and dependent. She was leaving as a vital member of the pod, ready to take her place in the community of ocean travelers who had made this journey countless times before. With one final look back at the peaceful lagoon, Luna turned northward and surged forward with powerful strokes of her tail. The water embraced her, cool and welcoming, as if recognizing an old friend. Ahead stretched miles of open ocean, full of challenges and wonders yet to be discovered. But the greatest discovery was the one Luna carried within herself, the knowledge that wherever the currents might take her, she was exactly where she belonged, a child of the endless blue, connected to all life through the ancient eternal wisdom of the deep.